Hello, 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 hello. This is Idris Sanusi from INSA Arts and Crafts. Um, we do tarot readings and life coaching, and this is the third lesson of the day. And today we're talking, and this lesson of the day is about the god or the day of the day. In this case, god and goddess of the day at the same time. Yes, you guessed it right. We're talking about Baphomet. If you're into the occult or if you're into death metal or heavy metal, I'm sure you've seen the poster boy of all the albums, Baphomet. Now, what is Baphomet? Let's back up a bit in history and go back to the first horned god. The first horned god is basically the god of. He is the god that the shamans contacted, and they ended up wearing horns. And he's the center of the atavisms, the animal atavisms in magic. Now, what is an animal atavism? You see, the animal atavism is the ability to become an animal, essentially, a werewolf, any of that kind. And some people say they've spotted some shamans who can pull this off, where they can turn completely into an animal. And some say in the lores, which not necessarily mean it's true, that there is a possibility there are entities that shapeshift from human to animal at will, and we have seen in our dreams entities that appear as half animal and half human and all that kind of stuff. If you haven't, then you don't know what I'm talking about, and you must have heard the stories or watched movies about werewolves. This is where these stories come from. Now, if you go back and read a bit, there's this magician called Austin Osman Spare, and he has talked extensively about the animal atavism. But when you're reading Austin Osman Spare, bear in mind that you need to have some sort of translation when it comes to Austin Osman Spare, because he does not talk English as much as he talks Sparian, and his language is very magical. The way he says things, because you might not understand them at that point when you read anything about Austin Osman Spare or from Austin Osman Spare, but by circumstance you'll be like, oh, Austin Osman Spare talked about the circumstance that I'm going through right now. Now I understand this text. Which takes me, you can't talk about the devil without talking about forbidden knowledge. What is forbidden knowledge? It is knowledge, it's truth. It's a form of truth that people don't like to hear, don't like to know about. And what is the truth that people don't want to know about and would prosecute people so as not to hear about it? Well, it depends on the age. Age, each civilization has a shape of truth that they would never want to look at. And if someone embodies that truth, they would make sure to prosecute and demonize. And thus they call him or her the devil. Since the Middle East or the Middle Eastern civilizations have been based on dictatorship, and not because they are terrible or anything like that, of course not. It's not about them being good or bad. It's because they have been raised in a desert terrain where basically if you don't listen to the head of the clan, you're fucked essentially. You need to listen to the big guy in the clan, so you end up saving your ass with the rest of the clan and not becoming a hindrance. There wasn't much space for difference in opinion. However, and thus at that point the rebel image was demonized. The difference in opinion is the devil at that point, and thus the creation of the devil at that point. Then if we're going to talk about the forbidden knowledge or the forbidden fruit, eat ye and eat from it and you'll become as gods, or whatever the fuck it is. I'm not a Christian, so I don't really follow up on the Bible, but you know what I mean. So basically what that means is that there is a forbidden fruit. It exists, thus it is true. But you're not supposed to eat from it, because once you eat from it, you will realize who you really are. You will see yourself as naked. And that's according to the Middle Eastern lore, which became as the Abrahamic lore later on. But what is more important, and the devil was the one who pointed out the nakedness of man to himself. And that happened through his rebellion. Don't eat from this tree. He ate from this tree and he rebelled, so he saw himself and she saw herself as naked. Now, the forbidden fruit begets forbidden knowledge, but that's according to that lore. What does Baphomet embody, and what does the horned god embody? Baphomet, or as called before, the goat of Mendes. The goat of Mendes is basically, why do you think the goat is always smiling? The goat is a trickster, and he's the god of tricks, and you can see always goats are fucking horny as fuck, and they are the gods of tricks. They are the trickster gods of sex, essentially, seduction, and a big part. And a lot of people will be like, but seduction is a form of manipulation to get into someone's pants or skirts. Not necessarily. There is a game, a mating game that we play. Call it the pecking order, or call it whatever you're going to call it. There is a game that men and women play since the dawn of creation. They just don't speak of it. This game is where the gender role is based. And the gender role has nothing to do with what you have in your pants or your skirts. It has with your attitude in and how you deal with circumstances and deal with your woman and deal with things, etc., etc., etc. And in these circumstances, you own the gender, be it the feminine or the masculine. And the man in this relationship if he's the feminine counterpart, he becomes the feminine at ease if he is actually in alignment with that aspect. The woman becomes the masculine at ease as well. However, this is temporary. This is not always like that. Sometimes the man will be the woman, sometimes the woman will be the man. But there are repercussions for that. When a man becomes the woman, he starts experiencing what a woman experiences. And what a woman experiences is intense, much more intense than any man experiences. And a lot of people will be like, fuck you, you're talking bullshit. No, I'm not. A lot of people will be like, yeah, women are too emotional and all that kind of stuff. No, they're not. They just have a higher sensational capability. And when a man is in his feminine, he locks into that sensation. And a man gets to feel that. The cosmic shifts, the nebulas, the stars, all these things. Women feel that on a fucking daily basis. But the thing is, a man, when he starts feeling this stuff, do you think the man is jealous when he doesn't feel them anymore? Think about that. Same thing with a woman. When she feels like a man, when she doesn't need to feel all the suffering and all these ecstatic feeling and motions, is she jealous of that man for his relief from that feeling by his nature? This takes us back to the concept of gender. Gender, as a man having a penis or a woman having a vagina, a man had no power over, no choice in whether he became a man or not, and a woman had no choice in whether she became a woman or not. But now, thankfully, people have the choice. People through surgery and through current medical establishments, they can choose whether they can become women or men. And I personally think that's a fucking amazing thing. It's another form of freedom of choice. And a lot of people who are jealous that they couldn't make that choice and are so afraid that they can make that choice will fucking demonize it. And whatever desire you have, you'll find an explanation for it. Doesn't mean that this is the true explanation for that desire. However, it's how you use this explanation to help you accomplish that desire. Some men will have enough of becoming a woman by fucking one. Some men will have enough of becoming a woman by actually castrating themselves by marrying women who are more masculine than them. Some men will go to the far extent of castrating their own penis. And that's how much they love their mothers and how much they want to become their mothers. Because at the moment of birth and the breastfeeding, the first reflection of a man, as I said earlier, the man does not see himself except in the mirror, and like the man as the human being. And his first mirror impression as a projection is his mother. He thinks that he is his mother, and he internalizes that. And in that he finds separation and union. Like anything else, as explained yesterday in yesterday's post about separation and union and the importance of the flexibility between separation and union and understanding the game that happens between both. In some cases, separation is harder from the mother than usual. And this highly depends on the mother herself and her relationship with the father of the child, and the relationship of the child with the mother. And some women would go to the far extent where they wouldn't actually they would they wouldn't change their husbands, be it because of love or be it because of social circumstances. The reasons are many, but at the end of the day, they desire those men. They love those men, so they would never leave them. But as a compensation, they would project what they wanted to have in their husbands on their sons, creating some sort of a rebel, a contender to the father. And that contender to the father becomes the mother's secret weapon in making the father do as the mother pleases. Until the son notices and he leaves the house. Now, what does that have to do with Baphomet? Well, it has to do with sexuality. And Baphomet is the raging image of both sexualities united, and fuck you, I'll do what I want. Being him embodied as Pan or Lucifer or whatever of those entities that have been called as the what's it called, the poster boys of rebellion. Now, Pan, for example, Pan is the god who basically does not give a fuck about the other gods. He sees that life is about the forest. He sees, or she sees, that life is about the forest, it's about playing, it's about sex, it's about joy. There's no need to take life too seriously. And that's why gods envy him and have a lot of respect for him at the same time. Same thing with Lucifer. Lucifer saw that the structure of heaven does not work. And he saw that, oh, so basically you're going to create some humans who don't work well with you gave them free will. Yet there's determinism and there's free will, and you gave them free will. And it's fucking confusing, Dad, what the fuck you're doing. The funny thing is that these images of rebellion are the worst, are in themselves the worst enemies. Why is that? It's because they see no more evil person as evil as they are. Even if they aren't evil, they can't help but see themselves as evil, because it is their burden to carry that evil on their backs. Because they carry the forbidden knowledge. Because they carry the truth that not everybody can swallow. Because once you swallow that truth, you can no longer be the same person that you were. Or you can't even become the same person. And that is one of the major initiatory secrets of magic, is given once you are initiated into magic. And I'm not saying you going on the internet and doing some Google research about what this is and what this that and all that. No, I'm saying like proper initiation. Shit that you have in your dreams. Shit that manifests in front of you. Where you no longer and this initiation even comes in the form of LSD, magic mushrooms. All of those psychedelic drugs are initiatory drugs. They lead Once you take those drugs, you're no longer the same person. And a lot of people will be like, yes, scientifically speaking, because the brain stretches and no longer. Shut the fuck up. All right? You're going to science rather than fucking trying the thing because you're so afraid of knowing the knowledge that might actually make you a better human being. So shut the fuck up and try it, or get the fuck out of my face. Now, if you get to this forbidden knowledge, that knowledge that you don't want to look at, that truth about yourself that's shining right in front of you. You look at it, you eat it, you digest it, you accept it. This gives you intense power, immense power. And what do I mean by power here? As I said earlier in the previous lesson, power as in self-understanding, knowing who you are and what you want, thus taking responsibility for it, and thus knowing what opinions will help you on your path and what opinions won't. And thus relaxation in front of the jaws of uncertainty. So open your eyes and let go of your fears. Baphomet, simply put, is about the union of masculine and feminine inside of us. It does not mean you becoming or trying to get fucked up the ass. If you're a man and you're not gay and you don't want to try to become gay, you don't have to get fucked up the ass to become a magician. This is just a scheme. This is just a scheme by some gay people who want to fuck a man, some gay dude who wanted to fuck a dude. Aleister Crowley and Austin Osman Spare is a very good example. Aleister Crowley wanted to fuck Austin Osman Spare up the ass, and Austin Osman Spare told him, "Fuck it off. I don't like that." And honestly, I'm not a big fan of Aleister Crowley in the first place. Not because he's gay. Just before we get into this conversation, not at all. In fact, I think I know a lot of gay people are the reason why art has become art, science has become science. And that's not because they are gay, that's because they are intelligent. Your pleasure in the bedroom has nothing to do with who you are as a person or how you benefit humanity. And this is the misconception that we have been given as children. That your gender has a role in protecting humanity. It only has a role in the bedroom, my friends. What happens outside of the bedroom is just you being a human being. So, that's it for today's lesson about Baphomet. Whew, this was a heavy one. Uh, may no order hinder you, and may chaos be your authority. Love you guys. Love you guys.